Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 30th of May 2023. So over the weekend we had a gathering of friends and family here. It was a nice day, pleasant weather, so we were all out in the garden enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the company of each other and some food and drink, and it was all very pleasant. But at one stage during the afternoon I was getting a little bit too much sun. You might see I'm a bit red in the last video or two, but I was getting a bit too much sun, so I asked Lorraine, because she was heading inside to get something anyway, if she could get my hat. So she brought out, my flat cap that I've worn sometimes, with the white badge, which is a symbol of the resistance movement and the freedom movement. And as I put it on and I was sitting there, one or two people asked me what the white badge was all about, and I kind of basically said, well, it's an anti-government thing. Didn't really elaborate too much over and above that. But there was one or two comments of surprise, I think, that I should be anti-government. But my question would be to anyone is, why on earth, after all of this time over the last 3 years, would anyone be pro-government or pro-establishment or be in any way supportive of those things? It just beggars belief that there is anyone who still thinks that the government is a good thing. And by the way, if you think I'm having a pop at the Conservative government, it doesn't just refer to them, this. It also refers to the Labour government, which is almost certain to be elected into the UK here, or into the UK Parliament, should I say, here in about 18 months' time. It's almost a dead cert that Starmer and his lot are going to become the next government, and although it's 18 months away yet, I already detest them as well. So this isn't a partisan thing, I just think they're all a total disgrace. So if anyone's watching this and thinking, sort of bizarrely, why anyone would want to be anti-government, let me just give you 10 good reasons to be anti-government. So I've got to look down here because I've got them listed out. Number one, they lie to the public constantly. I don't think this is news to anyone, regardless of what side of the narrative you're on. We all know that the government and the mainstream media constantly lie. Number two, they also break the law constantly whilst expecting you to obey them. How many scandals and all of the rest of it have we seen over the last, well, I say few years, over the last sort of many decades? So again, that's not exactly news, is it? Number three, they make laws designed to take our freedoms away. Did you know there's laws that have actually sort of been voted in or about to come in that have taken sort of elements of our rights to protest away, our elements of freedom of speech away, and also how everybody's not up in arms about this one. Though just in the last few weeks here in the UK brought in a law that makes it so the supermarkets no longer have to label GMO foods. So, you're not going to know whether you're getting GMO or not if you go to the supermarket to buy your food. And why would they do that? I can't think of any good reason why they would want to do that, apart from having their pockets lined by sort of certain elements who want to sell more of these kinds of products. So very, very corrupt indeed. Anyway, number four, they locked us down over a lurgy they themselves clearly didn't see as dangerous. Partygate, don't have to say any more than that. We all know that happened, and it shows that they weren't concerned about the lurgy at all, and yet they brought in these ruinous measures that has cost so many lives in lockdown suicides and all, so many other deaths as well from people not getting treatments they needed, etc., etc., and also ruining the economy, of course. This whole thing of massive increases in prices. Again, this isn't news to anyone. We all know how much more sort of food is. I saw someone saying just the other day that a bottle of tomato ketchup apparently has gone up 100% in the last sort of year. So I don't know. That's a sort of a fairly minor example, but going up 100% is ridiculous. And if you think that's down to this war going over in a certain country in the east starting with the letter U, think again. This inflation is all down to the ruinous lockdown policies the government pursued and that the opposition fully supported, which is why I can't stand Labour as well. So, that is yet another good reason to not like the government whatsoever. So, number 5, they don't believe in bodily autonomy and tried to make a segment of society second-class citizens. Well, we all know what we're talking about there, don't we? V-passports and all the rest of it. Now, you might have thought that was a good thing, and you might not have been concerned about a segment of society being made into second-class citizens. The government tried very hard to do that, let's not forget, and it was only due to a huge amount of pushback that they were thwarted in that. But you might not have been affected that time round, but if they try and do this again, well, next time it might be you who is in that segment of society that they want to make into second-class citizens. So just think on. Number 6, they have been proven, and this is 100% for fact, to have used military-grade psychological manipulation techniques or brainwashing on the population. This isn't any kind of conspiracy. This is a fact. Absolute fact, proven fact. And if you don't think that the psychological manipulation of a population is possible, well, just watch a couple of episodes of Derren Brown and how he's able to brainwash entire audiences. And if it can be done to an audience by just one guy, just imagine what can be done with the population when the government's doing it rather than just one person, and they've got all the apparatus of state and media to put it into effect. So, number 7, they constantly get us into wars we didn't vote to be involved in. I mean, why is it that our governments, whether they are Labour or Conservative, are always either getting us into wars or just getting us involved with wars? Why can't we just be neutral and just stand back and just let the people, the countries who do want to fight, get on with it? You have to ask yourself that question. And could it be because, again, of corrupt governments and individuals within the government and to do with powers that shouldn't be generally, stand to make lots of money out of wars? That could be something to do with it, couldn't it? Number 8, well, this is one that should concern everybody, but shockingly doesn't seem to. They actually think that having scantily clad people of a certain orientation, not going to say much more than that. To read stories to your kids is actually a good thing. Really, how we are putting up with that and standing for that is just beyond me and beyond many other people. But if you're pro-government and pro-establishment, that is exactly the kind of thing that you are at least tacitly supporting. Number 9, they squander countless billions on rubbish and vanity projects whilst telling you they have no money for stuff that's actually important. And how much did they waste during the lurgy, with all of these PPE things and all kinds of things they sort of squander their money on. Things like financing, sort of the last point, these story hour things, etc., whilst they can't even maintain the roads properly. So, that's just another lie there, isn't it, really? And finally, number 10, kind of leading on from number 9, this is corruption. And if you don't think the government's corrupt, well, there's no helping you, I'm afraid, really. We've all seen conflicts of interests, such as ministers giving contracts to their mates. Matt Hancock comes to mind with that one. And also we've seen other people having shares in companies likely to benefit from measures they're about to bring in. And anyone remember back in 2020 when Valence's £600,000 worth of shares in a certain V company came to light? And yet that kind of seemed to go over most people's heads without anyone getting outraged by it. Just absolutely incredible. So I'm going to leave it at 10. I know there's probably viewers who are screaming at me right now. Tim, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about that? There's so much more than 10. Well, if I kind of talked about everything, all the reasons why you shouldn't like the government, shouldn't support the government, should be anti-government, I'll be here all night. And I need to get my dinner, to be honest with you, soon. So I know it's tip of the iceberg stuff, and if you have anything to add to this list, leave it in the comment section below and I'll read your comments before too long, no doubt. And I'll just finish off by mentioning my newsletter again. You can sign up to it in the description box below. I'll leave a link to the thing where you can go and sign up for that. I've mentioned it in a few videos now, mention it again today, and let you go and do that if you want to, and I'll be back soon. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.